Writing melodies over odd time signatures can be very difficult, and it's often hard to come up with something that's memorable. Today, I want to cover a few of the ways that I tackle writing melodies over odd time signatures. My first piece of advice is just to sing or play a melody over the underlying rhythm you're working with. This might seem really obvious, but I think it can be overlooked when you're dealing with more complex rhythms. Often my melodic approach is just to do what feels natural to me. I would recommend listening to the rhythm and the underlying accompaniment a number of times before you try this out. If I can get the rhythms ingrained in my mind, I find that I naturally develop melodies that work well over them. This first part of the chorus from the song The Fourth Wall, which I released for the Prog School back in March, is a great example of this. This was a melody I hummed and played on guitar over the backing instruments. It took me some time to feel out the rhythm, but once I did, the melody flowed very organically. This is always my first piece of advice when it comes to melodies. Knowing the right scales, chord tones, and the exact rhythmic placement for a melody is great, and it can be really helpful, as we'll see shortly. But at the end of the day, it's all about what sounds best, and often that's the melody that comes out naturally. Now, this doesn't always work. Sometimes the rhythms are just too complex, or the chords are changing in unusual places. My second piece of advice is to break down the rhythm into its strongest accents. For example, let's take a look at a few of the rhythms I covered in my 10 odd meters you need to know video. This first one here is in 7/8. It's divided as 2 groups of 2 and 1 group of 3. If I want to write a melody over this, I could literally just have the melody hit on these major accents. This ensures that the melody is locking in with the rhythm, and it makes it easier to have the melody follow chord changes since those are usually happening on strong beats. Now, you don't have to hit all of the strong beats, you can just use those as target points for the melody. The main melody from the latest Prog School single, Surface Tension, does just that, and it actually uses the 7/8 rhythm I just talked about. Here you can see all the points where this melody is lining up with those strong beats. It hits the first and third beat of measure 1, plays a run that fills up beat 3 of measure 2, and uses some pickup notes into beat 3 of measure 3. This is very much locking in with the rhythm, but not hitting every single accent. Here's another example. This one is from last month's Prog School tune, Unbalanced Tranquility. Here I have a 5/4 rhythm grouped as 3/3-2-2. You can see this melody pretty much follows this rhythm exactly. Here I'm treating those 4 beats of 3/3-2-2 like I would 4 beats in a 4/4 time signature. Here's how the melody would look if it was written in 4/4. Now, these two approaches should work together. It's not one or the other. A lot of times I'll start by improvising a melody or singing a melody, and then after I get the notes and overall structure of that melody where I want it, I'll dive in deeper and make the necessary adjustments to have it lock in with the rhythm. The chorus from The Fourth Wall I talked about earlier is a good example of this. In the second measure, I found the notes I wanted, and I attempted to improvise those over the rhythm, but it wasn't really working. So I took those notes, and I made each one line up with the beginning of the rhythmic patterns here, and that made the melody work for this measure. This is how I usually approach writing melodies. The sound comes first, and if I need to use theory to fill in some of the gaps after that, I will. I think this makes for a pretty musical approach to dealing with melodies, especially over complex rhythms. So give these ideas a shot for yourself and let me know how it goes. If you enjoyed this lesson, subscribe, hit the bell notification, like, comment, share. Till next time, stay proggy.